As was mentioned, I wrote this poem in 2017 after my first walk in Washington, D.C.
The poem is entitled Vigil. We gather, the late spring sun dipping low, midsummer approaching, Father's Day on deck, registration, medical check-in, honor beads, team photos, blue-shirted and with a purpose, we gather. A loudspeaker transmits the story, much as a stethoscope osculates lungs and heart. A rhythm echoes out, and in response, a collective holding of breath and shedding of tears. Heads bent in silent prostration as opening ceremonies revisit wounds, one old, others painfully fresh. We walk, halting at first. That first mile takes forever. As almost 2,000 walkers herd through this portal to the city, we walk on sidewalks, stop at stop signs, look both ways before we cross, and we do not obstruct traffic. We do not close streets. City life goes on as it does. Every Saturday night, life goes on for those for whom we are not walking in remembrance. City dwellers stop and ask, why? Who? What?
How long? Why are you wearing those shirts? Who are you? What are you doing? How long is this walk? Why are you walking? Who is this for? What is the overnight? Why are you carrying that sign? Who died? Why are there so many? We walk through the nightlife, through partying crowds, through quiet midnight parks, through early morning neighborhoods, through sleeping neighborhoods. In the quietest hours, new friends and conversations fall quiet. The struggle now is to get through this hill, one foot in front of the other. Blisters hobbling, threatening to disable. Each step, another painful reminder that this night is a journey, a celebration. Awake for the lost friends, mothers, husbands, aunts, coaches, brothers, nephews, classmates, cousins, fathers, sisters, doctors, colleagues, patients, uncles, grandparents, nieces, wives, children, strangers who died by suicide. This night is also a testimony, a story, an exercise in stigma breaking. As many walkers
are survivors, we gather. We gather. The morning sun considers rising up, spring fading fast, Father's Day at bat, the finish line, breakfast, check-in, luminaria glowing in the fading night, team photos, blue-shirted, weary, we gather. Relief, exhaustion, and something more settles as the new day dawns and we share a collective releasing of breath and drying of tears, heard raised in vocal proposition for change as closing ceremonies remind us to be the voice. This conversation continues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine and Kimberly. New York, please welcome your host and the CEO of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Bob Gebbia.
Thank you, Catherine and Kimberly, for sharing your beautiful poem with us. So inspiring. Thank you for doing that. Well, hello, everyone. It's an honor to welcome you to the 2022 New York City Out of the Darkness Overnight. You know, it's really great to have the overnight back here in New York, but it's really, really great to be here in person. Yeah. I'd like to hear a yeah loud if you were happy to be here in person. Yeah. All right. All right. You know, tonight we walk to lift up those who struggle with thoughts of suicide and those who've acted on those thoughts. To everyone with us this evening who has lived the experience of being suicidal, I say to you, thank you for your courage. We're so glad you're with us. And as we walk through the night, we remember the people we love who have died by suicide. Sons and daughters, siblings, parents, spouses, partners, and friends. Let's pause for a moment to think about those we've lost and those who may be struggling right now. Thank you. I want to take this opportunity to recognize some amazing people because they really helped make this event happen. Special thanks to our New York City chapter for all the work they do year-long and also for being such gracious hosts to us. Thank you, New York City chapter. Thank you to our generous sponsors, Boehringer Ingelheim and Cymentum, for their unwavering support. Thank you for your sponsorship. I also want to thank CBS and NBC for being here tonight, for helping us spread the message of hope far and wide. Thank you, CBS and NBC. And finally, I want to show our appreciation to our volunteer crew and our hardworking staff. We couldn't manage this event without all of them. Thank you. We also want the world to know about your overnight experience. So if you post on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, please use #overnightwalk, #overnightwalk, and follow us on Instagram at AFSP National, @AFSP National. This year's overnight is special in another way. 2022 marks AFSP's 35th anniversary. We were founded in 1987 by families affected by suicide loss and by researchers who are eager to learn how to prevent this leading cause of death. Well, we've come a long way in 35 years, because 35 years ago, mental health was misunderstood and suicide was shrouded in secrecy. This has begun to change, and it's because of the progress we've made and because of all of you and what you're doing. So thank you to our passionate walkers and to everyone involved in this cause, our volunteers, our advocates, our researchers, clinicians, and generous donors. Today, AFSP's founders would be proud of our bold goal to reduce the suicide rate 20% by 2025. They'd be amazed by the reach of our research and our advocacy, and by our prevention and loss and healing and workplace programming, which provide essential tools we need to help our nation respond to this leading cause of death. This year's overnight walk also serves as a powerful moment for reflection as we continue to work our way through the pandemic. And while there have been challenges such as increased rates of depression and anxiety, substance use, and thoughts of suicide, there is also hope. There's hope because our nation has never been more focused on mental health and the importance of our mental health. And there's hope because suicide is finally becoming a national priority, finally happening. Throughout the pandemic, AFSP was at the forefront of elevating the conversation about taking care of ourselves and taking care of those around us. and our work increased dramatically throughout the pandemic. For example, we increased our investment in research by 30%, now having 28 million in current studies. We successfully advocated for 988, a new digit number for those who are struggling and are in crisis. Our Seize the Awkward public service ads aimed at empowering teens and young adults to help a friend reached a milestone with over 50 million views, and 52% of young adults report having seen at least one of those ads. We launched new programs for youth, for families who have someone struggling in the family, and programs in support of the LGBTQ+, Latinx, and Black communities, and programs to support our veterans. How appropriate, being here at the Intrepid. We formed our first ever chapter in Puerto Rico. We're so proud of that. And when suicide did occur, AFSP was there, offering the families and friends resources and support. But most importantly, there's hope, because since we walked together in 2019 in that overnight, the US suicide rate, after 2 decades of increases, had 2 years of decreases. And we have to keep in mind, not every group is experiencing that decrease. In fact, there are trends that are alarming among our youth and among Black and other minoritized youth. So we still have a lot to do. We still lose 46,000 people every year to suicide in our country. But in spite of these challenges, there's hope. And the decrease in suicide in the past 2 years tells us it's possible. It's possible to reduce suicide. It's possible to save lives if we continue to invest in the prevention. And because of you, we will be able to continue to invest in prevention, because collectively you've already raised $2.7 million. With more and more people like yourselves speaking out about how suicide has affected their lives, we'll continue to fight for a day when no one will die by suicide. I thank you for walking. I thank you for raising your voices. I thank you for saving lives and bringing hope to those affected by suicide. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. At the overnight, we use Illuminaria bags to help remember those we've lost and those who have struggled, but thankfully made it through. Most of you have dropped your Illuminaria bags off, so our volunteers can place them for you for the return tomorrow morning. But a few of our walkers still have their bags, and I would like them to come to the stage and light the candle and place their bag here at the front of the stage. And while they make their way forward, I'd like to share a little bit about the people we are walking for tonight, just some of the people we are walking for tonight. Annette Basara carries the memory of Brittany Basara, a loving daughter, sister, aunt, and friend who wanted to change the world by helping those who struggle. She walks tonight to remind those who are suffering that there is hope. Marie DeMasi walks to remember her brother and protector, Stephen Valente. Stephen had an infectious smile and died too young, 31 years ago, at the age of 13. At the young age of 20, Jake Miller took his own life, not knowing that the light lay just ahead. Ann Machete and Mary Jean Miller walk in his memory tonight to show everyone who's struggling that they can reach that light. Marianne and Raymond Burke, they walk to remember Seaman Raymond Matthew Burke. He was fulfilling his dream, serving as a submariner in the U.S. Navy, when he tragically died by suicide in 2001. They hold him close as they walk tonight in his memory, walking through the night. Todd Fahey was an operating engineer for 20 years before he died by suicide, just before his 39th birthday. He was a loving son, a husband, and father, and he's remembered tonight by Valerie Asensio. And Beta Fahey was a loving wife and mother who struggled alone with her demons and lost her fight 33 years ago at age 53. Samantha Fahey walks for her tonight, and she also walks for her aunt and 3 others, friends who died by suicide. These are just some of the stories about who's walking tonight and why. But you'll all share your stories tonight, because it's the stories that's changing everything. I thank you for walking and for sharing those stories. And now it's my pleasure to introduce a dedicated supporter of AFSP and our community. Cindy Hsu is an award-winning anchor and reporter at CBS 2 News here in New York. Yes, we love Cindy. In 2021, in hopes of helping others who might be struggling with their mental health, Cindy discussed her own personal battle with depression in 2 segments on CBS 2 News called Breaking the Stigma and Breaking the Stigma, You Are Not Alone. Recently, we were honored and fortunate to have Cindy join our National Board of Directors, and we thank her for joining us tonight. Please welcome Cindy Hsu.
Wow, if you could see what I see, so many people out there. 7 years ago, I attempted suicide. I was suffering from depression, and I got the warped idea that my family would be better off without me. Of course, that wasn't true. Unfortunately, I lived. Afterward, I scoured the internet. Thank you. Afterwards, I scoured the internet and found that AFSP had all the information and help that I was searching for. They became invaluable resources when I did stories on the news about mental health. They continue to inspire me with their work, and I'm eager to support their mission in any way I can. Tonight, I'm honored to do that by walking through the night with this incredible community. Thank you all for being here tonight and working together to save lives. We're all here because of a personal connection we have to this cause. The honor beads you wear represent that connection, whether it's one of victory, struggle, or loss. They are a way of honoring those we love and sharing our stories with one another. So please look around you. See others in our community who are here for the same reason you are. I am honored to introduce to you some of the extraordinary members of our community whom you'll be walking with tonight. White beads are worn tonight by those who have lost a child. Brahmini Rangavajula will wear hers for her daughter, Cypria, a loving, smart, vivacious young woman who tragically died by suicide at the age of 19. Brahmini walks to increase awareness of this silent epidemic and bring support to everyone in this community. This is her second overnight, and she'll keep walking until no more parents have to feel the pain of losing a child. Tonight is Michael Sheridan's third overnight, but his first one wearing gold beads in honor of his father, Kevin, who died by suicide in April of last year. Kevin was the kind of man who always made sure he was doing the most he could for the people around him. Michael, his mother, and his siblings hold Kevin close as they hope to share love and support with all of those who are remembering lost parents tonight. Ariana Jones Allen will wear red beads to remember her person and the father of her daughter, Lev Bronstein, who died by suicide in 2006 at the age of 30. Lev loved reading and music and had an infectious laugh. Ariana has been a part of the overnight community since 2016 and is proud to walk with all of us to bring life-saving education and support to so many people who need it. Tonight's silver beads are worn by those who have lost a first responder or member of the military. Yoni Samuel Siegel and his wife Meg will wear silver for their son Noah, who died by suicide this past November while serving in the Army in South Korea. Yoni and his family are walking tonight in honor of Noah's loving, compassionate spirit to help prevent others from experiencing the hopelessness that Noah must have felt and the pain that they now feel. Yoni and Meg are also walking to increase public awareness of the troubling rate of suicide among active military members, with hope that changes the culture that allows the heartbreaking and needless deaths of the brave people serving our country. Tonight is Kenny Cruz's first overnight. He wanted to do one before, but was ashamed about his suicidal thoughts. He suffered in silence for a long time and almost followed through on a planned attempt in 2018. We are so happy that he's with us tonight, putting on green beads. Green beads signifying their own struggle with suicide. He is here to help ease the stigma so that others don't have to feel the way he did. Most of all, he's here to help others get a second chance like he did and let them know they are not alone. This year, we've added a new set of beads to our ceremony, rainbow beads. Rainbow beads are worn by those who walk in honor of those in the LGBTQ+ community who have died or struggled with suicidal thoughts. Tonight, Timothy Berkey wears his in honor of his own struggle. When he was 20 years old and serving in the Navy, sick, scared, and alone in the hospital, he attempted to take his life. Fortunately, he lived. Timothy lived, and he's here with us tonight to let others see that no matter who you are, there is always someone who understands and cares. Wearing orange beads to symbolize the loss of a sibling is Marja Mendez. 8 years ago, Marja lost her brother, Eddie, to suicide. Eddie helped raise Marja and continues to watch over their family. He was an angel sent in human form who was loved deeply, and it was always the life of the party. Tonight, Marja also honors others in her life who have struggled with suicide, including people she served along with in the United States Army and her mother. She walks so that other families won't have to experience the same heartbreak and darkness that hers did. Rowan Cohen. Rowan Cohen will wear teal beads tonight, representing those who know someone who currently struggles with depression and mental illness. He has had numerous close friends and family members struggle with mental health. Thankfully, some join him here today. He's here for his 5th walk because he knows all too well what it's like to be there for friends and family going through tough times. He walks to encourage those who continue to support the ones they love and to honor those who have sadly been lost forever. The purple beads Kate Snow will wear tonight represent those of us who have lost a friend or relative. She walks tonight with her husband and her kids to remember her father-in-law, her kid's papa, who died by suicide in 2010. Since then, the family has learned so much about the importance of talking out loud about mental health, and they're proud to be here tonight supporting AFSP and this community. Kate walks tonight with the hopes that soon she will no longer have to report on staggering suicide rates and the hole that it leaves in families. Finally, Dion C. Monsanto will wear blue beads tonight. Like all of you, she dreams of a world without suicide. Dion became involved with AFSP after losing 2 special people to suicide in 2011. First, her 15-year-old daughter, Seaway, and then her friend, Annie. Since then, she's been a proud AFSP volunteer that walks, talks, advocates, and educates to stop suicide. Our honor beads illustrate the many reasons that we're all here. But though our stories may differ, we stand together with one united, powerful goal: to end suicide. That's why we all hold blue beads in our hand. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to turn to someone near you and place those blue bees over their head. As you do, think about our community. Think about the strength we get from each other. And think about the hope we give to those not here tonight who are dealing with their own struggles. Please place your blue bees over the head of someone next to you. Now, as you turn back toward me, grasp the hands of those around you. Feel the strength of this community in that grip, and be sure to squeeze nice and hard. And keep that feeling with you that as we walk through the night to end suicide, because nothing can stop us if we stand, speak out, and walk together.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for inspiring us and leading our bead ceremony. And thank you to everyone who participated in our opening ceremony. Thank you so much. Thank you. And now I invite our North Stars and their team members. Our North Stars have raised a minimum of $10,000. And I'd like them to go to the finish. We're not there yet. Go to the starting. Got a lot of walking to do. Okay, we can go to the start line because we'd like them to lead our walk. So if our North Stars and their team members would go to the start, and in a little bit, we're going to begin the walk, and we'd like you to lead it. As they work their way towards the starting line, I have a couple of questions to ask of you. One question is, are you ready to walk all night long? I'd say that's a yes. Are you going to take care of each other all night long? I'd say that's a yes. Are you ready to bring our message of hope to the streets of New York City all night long? Another yes. Well, I think we're ready to begin. Let's start the 2022 Out of the Darkness New York City Overnight.